I forgot this book was coming out, and I had pre-ordered the audiobook, and it just like suddenly dropped in my library overnight. But Locklands by Robert Jackson Bennett got released today. I'm really excited. So I'm immediately picking this up. I don't care what else I'm reading right now. I'm immediately picking this up, and I'm going to be reading this all day. I mean, I've got to work, but in between breaks and stuff like that. This is the third and final book in the Founders trilogy, and I am so pumped for this. This is such a fast-paced, fun, world-building series that's just very epic in scope, and it's just gotten bigger and bigger as the series has gone on, and it's got kind of a Venetian-inspired world. It's got like coding-based magic where you can rewrite the code of an object to do something else, which is fascinating. I'm so excited. So I just had to get on here, even though I look like this. I just wanted you to know that I got dressed today. I have a tendency that when I start to feel even a little bit better, I overdo it. And so I need to remember that yesterday I was literally vomiting, and I'm still a little queasy today, so I had all these plans, all these ideas for what I wanted to do today, like get in my garden, do all this stuff, get some cleaning done, blah blah blah. And then I was like, you know what, I'm still not feeling great. Like, I should maybe just acknowledge that this needs to be another rest day, because I'm still not eating normally. I'm still feeling really gross. So it's a perfect opportunity to read Locklands though. But yeah, look, I got dressed and now I'm outside finishing my workday. I'm gonna eat my sandwich and pickles for dinner. Hopefully it goes down okay. But it's been a couple hours, and I like to do a reading update because I did finish part 1. It's hard to talk about a third book in a series without spoiling things, so I'm gonna be vague, but talk about things kind of in general. So between books 2 and 3, 8 years pass. So that's a pretty big time jump. So one thing I noticed is that the narration and the explanation and the world building at this point is catching up on the last 8 years, and it's not really recapping book 2 at all. So it's not, so you're catching up to where the characters are 8 years later, not what happened in the previous book, if that makes sense. So like I read book 2 March of 2021, so a year and 3 or 4 months ago. So things are a little hazy. I'm starting to remember more and more as the book is going on, like the characters, like the main characters obviously I still remember, but the other side characters and kind of the ending of book 2 I wish would have been discussed and processed, because the ending of book 2 is really explosive, and it's kind of a cliffhanger, and it's like, oh my god, what's going to happen next? How are the characters going to process these emotions from what just happened? And then it's suddenly 8 years later, so they're dealing with different traumas obviously, but they're not processing and thinking about what happened at the end of book 2. We're just kind of moving past the ending of book 2, which is a choice. It's an execution thing, and it's all about your personal preference. It's just something I'm noticing, and it's making me wish I had binge read book 1 and 2 before starting this. But I'm already like 25% into the book now, so I'm just gonna keep going. The other thing I'm noticing is in book 1, our main character was very clearly a young woman named Sansia. She was a thief. She had some kind of magical abilities that was very, confusing, and that we kind of teased that out in book 1. But Sansia was essentially the main character, and we acquired more characters along the way. And then book 2, Sansia kind of shared the limelight with some other characters. She was like still the main character, but not the sole main character anymore. If that makes sense. Book 3, I can tell Sansa is still a main character, but she's like taking on a lesser role than Berenice. It feels like Berenice, who is her now wife, this is queer, by the way, Sapphic specifically. So Berenice is introduced kind of in the middle of book 1, and so she's definitely a side character in book 1 and kind of a main character in book 2, and she's taken on a huge role in book 3. So I love Sansa, so it's hard for me to kind of let her go a little bit as the main character, but it makes sense. I don't know, it kind of makes me sad, and I wasn't expecting Berenice to be like our primary main character, if that makes sense. Last thing that I will say at this check-in, this 25% check-in, is that book 3 starts with action. This is an action-driven story, I would say, more plot-driven. Normally I'm more character-driven, but I really enjoy the story. And book 3 is definitely, we start with action and there's no holding back. These books are generally really fast-paced, and I think the opening of the book, part 1, is very action intense, and then part 2, I'm getting into a little bit more of like we've pulled back to do some plotting, but I'm sure the action is going to ramp up again very soon because that's just the nature of this story and how the author is telling it. It's just very action intense. So I am enjoying it quite a lot. Like, I know I kind of maybe sounded a little negative earlier, but like I am pretty sucked in pretty quickly, even though it kind of took me a minute to like grasp things and remember, but I am still having a good time. It is 8 a.m. and I've been up since 5, so I thought I might as well. What do you have to say? Did you like your breakfast? Yeah, you're licking your lips, asking for pets with that foot. I figured while I'm awake, I might as well get up and do a reading update. So I managed to get like 65% into the book yesterday, and I'm really enjoying this. I'm really enjoying the book, and I thought I'd kind of talk about like what this book has in it in a general way so you don't get spoiled. So it has obviously the main couple, which is so precious and cute and sapphic, and I love them forever, and they are very tender and sweet, and I just really appreciate them in this book and how their relationship is developing. Our sidekick character is getting a lot of backstory, and his backstory, because he's kind of basically had amnesia, to put it in a simpler terms. He basically has no memories of his past, and he's starting to remember in this third and final book, and it's heartbreaking, and he's just absolutely shattered by what he's remembering, and my heart is just crying for this character. And he's always been kind of this happy-go-lucky, like really bubbly character, and he's really going through it. It's making me sad, but also like it's really compelling at the same time. And then I think I can say this without it being a spoiler, but the heroes team up with a villain to take out the other villain, which I did not see coming, and I think is fantastic. That's all I'll say. I don't want to spoil anything more about that, but did not see that coming. It's been a delight. I'm having a good time. Good morning. I really just wanted to show you all my colorful pants, because like while I'm wearing just like a black tank top, my pants are exquisite. So good morning. It is actually a few days later, and I've collected myself. I'm calm, I'm cool, I'm collected. I'm ready to do a final thoughts and feelings moment on Locklands. So as you can see behind me, I've got books 1 and 2 in paperback, and I don't know what to say. Actually, I've been thinking, and that's why I've waited a few days to try and come up with some thoughts. And I really don't have a lot to say. I think this is such a great trilogy, a good adult fantasy trilogy. Is it the most groundbreaking, show-stopping? Maybe not. It is very plot-driven, so if you're more of a character-driven reader, this series might not be for you. But I just had a blast reading these books, and as you saw in my previous clip, I was sobbing. Not just sobbing, I was yelling, "No! My babies!" like over and over and over again, and my husband was concerned. So I think that tells you all you need to know about the conclusion of the trilogy, without spoiling things, obviously. It's bittersweet. I don't think it's a surprise that I gave this 5 stars. Is this a 5 stars because it is perfectly written, perfectly executed? No, I don't think it's a perfect book by any means, but I had such a visceral emotional reaction and I enjoyed my time reading so much that I can't give this anything less than a 5 stars. And I believe I gave the other 2 installments in the series also 5 stars. And again, were there things I wish were different? You know, nitpicky things, sure, but I think overall as a trilogy, this has been such a joy to read, and I really recommend it. If you like the first book, I think you would enjoy the rest of the trilogy. It really, the first book is like a heist that goes wrong, and then the world explodes from there, and it really becomes something completely different by the end. But I think if you're along for the ride, I think you would have such a fun time with this trilogy. Anyway, that's my review. Usually I'm a little bit more critical and I have more talking points, but when I'm this emotionally invested in a story, I just gush. So thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in another video very soon. Bye.